You confronted my client at her home. What were you thinking?
This guy's case is putting a strain on the rest of us.
This is not about you.
The Crown offered you a deal and you dismissed it.
I discussed it with my client and we rejected the offer.
Objection. She gave my mother COVID.
She's lying.
Floyd, how, you're a lawyer by trade. This is an ideal show for you. And in a way, it lets you help people through cinema and filmed entertainment. Did you think about that? I mean, if you can't help in a courtroom or something, or you decide not to, you can actually make an artistic statement.
I would say that one of the things that is really important for the show, and sometimes, it may not be the best dramatic choice, but the one thing that we try to do is it's really important to get the law right.
Right.
And so we have a couple of legal consultants who we work with, depending upon the episodes, because my background is entertainment law. I never worked as a criminal lawyer. So it's like, I have a foundation from what I remember in law school, but basically for all of the details, I tend to rely on, a couple of local lawyers in Nova Scotia. And I just think that, part of the responsibility of when you're doing a show like this is not just simply to let's just make it up, but also to kind of make sure that you're educating while you're entertaining. And
exactly.
So that's always been part of the mix.
Vanessa, you play a woman who is restricted by the law on all sides, and there's constant obstacles for her to overcome. I mean, she's very capable, very smart, and can figure these things out. Do you think, given what you've learned playing Marcy, that you have the personality to be a lawyer, or is that some kind of really weird special breed?
I think it is a sort of weird special breed, as you put it. I mean, I'm certainly I'm much too emotional to be a lawyer. I don't think I would serve my client in any way, because I would just probably start breaking down crying in front of the judge or something. But I do enjoy, there's a part of me that does enjoy perhaps maybe the cross-examining or, taking a witness to school, if you will. If I have some information, it's sort of, it's kind of our little actor, I guess, fantasy to kind of cross-examine someone and take them down.
Yeah, I bet. Crystal, your character raises a subject I'd never heard of before. And I wonder, people watching the series, I mean, it's done so beautifully, so realistically, authentically. Do you think people will find some of the subject matter triggering?
Absolutely. I mean, these are heavy, heavy, heavy topics that we're talking about here. And I think it has to be done. So like you said, what Floyd said, entertaining as well as educating people. I think it's a good thing, because I've learned so much even just watching this show,
Yeah.
Birth alerts for sure are definitely, that was triggering for me, just because, in a way, if there are, mothers that are not being responsible with their bodies and they're carrying a life, that is one thing. But then when they're actually taking babies from Indigenous women just because they are Indigenous for these racist hospitals, that's another thing in itself. And that was the 60s scooping the babies from the mothers. And I think people need to know what's going on. So props to Floyd for bringing these issues to light.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Natasha, your character is, she has a different set of problems. She has a lot of, she wants to do good. She wants her staff to do good. She wants people to be given justice. And honestly, the pressures on her are astounding. I don't know how people do it. So tell me how she functions, in her position, having all this sort of emotional stuff inside.
Yeah, I think that Colleen, really does have a line to toe. She's really got to try and take into consideration keeping her lawyers happy, doing what she can for the people, being underfunded, being, overworked, trying to balance and spin all of the plates. I think she's fair by nature, but certainly she has a little bit of a shorter fuse.
Deservedly, I mean, yeah.
She's like a woman with like too many children who's just like pulled in a lot of directions all the time, who's trying to make it all work. And but obviously you're right, there are a lot of pressures on her and wanting to do the right thing and wanting to show up for as many people as she can, but also recognizing that it's just not possible to do everything for everyone.
Doug's a bit different. When he loses his temper, it's unexpected because he's so calm, cool, and collected, and you lose your temper with Colleen. And I wonder what it was like shooting that, because you're usually so laid back. Was it
You just
cleansing?
have this relationship that Colleen and Doug have, though, is like that. We're like, it's not like brother and sister. It's not like husband, wife. It's like these two people who like admire each other, but don't always meet on the same plane, So it's like, we're not afraid to express ourselves, and she's not afraid to call Doug on his stuff when he does snap at her. But it's, I love the relationship that they have regarding that.
Floyd, one final question. What else can we expect to see through the season?
I don't want to say it's like a what if story, but essentially it's a story about, what would happen if it wasn't the young Black man being killed by the police during an altercation, but vice versa. So we're going to do that. We're doing a case where we look at sort of the boundaries of when does sexting become child pornography. We're doing a story about, sexual assault in the LGBTQ plus community.
Right.
And looking at, how the police deal with sexual assaults in that community versus, other sexual assaults. So yeah, we're like this season, we're sort of just like, trying to go for it in terms of the issues that we're trying to tackle.
You confronted my client at her home. What were you thinking?
This guy's case is putting a strain on the rest of us.
This is not about you.
The Crown offered you a deal and you dismissed it. I discussed it with my client and we rejected the offer.
Objection. She gave my mother COVID.
She's lying. We're gonna get our turn.